Hey everybody, Karen here. If you're following me, awesome. Thank you for following me. I'm going to do today a little bit of a share on the coronavirus. It's a scary time for everybody. I have, in my 52 years of living on this planet, never have we ever had anything that's this scary. The last pandemic was the Spanish flu in 1918. And unfortunately, this is the things that we are going to have to do. It is scary. The World Health Organization has announced that the COVID-19 is a pandemic. Daily situations updates you can get on the internet, but common sense is one of these things that we need to actually enforce. So the situation is changing rapidly. Every day it's something new. Like this morning we woke up and hairdressers are only allowed to do 30-minute visits. And then, of course, all the people trying to make their businesses work better so that they can actually get through it and do it. Look, everybody's making their own choices and their own decisions. The fact is that if we keep trying to shortcut it and put a colour on and then send them out and then let them come back, that's not containing the virus. People make decisions that are for your community, not just for your back pocket. This is not a back pocket decision that you need to be making. So I'm just going to help a little bit with some of the things that you should be looking out for. Symptoms for coronavirus are fever, coughing, sore throat, fatigue, and shortness of breath. If you are sick, check your symptoms. There are online self-symptom checkers on the website on the www.queenslandhealth.gov.au site. Don't go just thinking about what's on Facebook is true. But we need to protect others and stop the spread. This is the biggest message that I can put in this little video message today. We can all help slow the spread of coronavirus. To protect others, we must practice good hygiene, practice social distancing, follow the limits for public gatherings, and understand how to self-isolate. Not just stay at home and then go to the shops with the kids. And anyway, I'll get to that later. If you have a confirmed case, you must isolate yourself. All the doctors and all the GPs and everything are so busy. It's hard to get in. We have got access to doctors on call, so look up those things in your area. The people most at risk are older people, people in aged care facilities, and travellers. Obviously, the borders have been shut, so we won't be getting many of those lately, but please just use your common sense. Government responses is australia.gov.au. So go australia.gov.au to learn more about how we can do this. But how we are managing the outbreak, this has been an unprecedented situation for any government. And this is not a government message, but what I'm saying is we need to use our common sense. The reason they have had to put other things in place is because people are not doing what they're supposed to. We were told not to congregate, not to go to pubs, not to do things. And then the kids, I'm not going to blame just the kids, but the people didn't do it. And then we have now had to go down to stage 2, which is bringing in forced closures of businesses, which is frightening. Some people aren't happy with the decisions to keep some places open and some not, and schools, etc., etc. But I think from my perspective on watching what's going on, I really do believe that it's so that not everybody is, all of us are all standing in line at Centrelink. Okay, it's a scary time and scary situation. Use your common sense. Please, people, be tolerant. The people that are out there that have a job, that are servicing you in the service industries, that are allowed to stay open, their job is hard enough as it is. We don't need you guys to be forcing aggression onto them as well. The poor kids at McDonald's and the drive-thrus and all the takeaway shops and things like that. Be nice to your service members. Good hygiene. Best thing we can do to slow the coronavirus is washing your hands frequently, covering your mouth when you cough, putting tissues straight into a bin. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, mouth. Cleaning regularly using on frequently used objects like your bench tops and your stoves, your handles of your doors, any of that sort of stuff. Keeping your home well ventilated is also a good thing too. Everyone must practice good hygiene and protect against the infection. When you practice good hygiene, I'm going to say it again, but you cover your coughs and sneezes with your elbow or your tissue. Put your used tissues in the bin straight away. Wash your hands often with soap and water for 20 seconds. Sing happy birthday twice if you have to, including before and after eating and going to the toilet. Use alcohol-based sanitizers. We have heard that Bundy Rum and the Beanley factory are actually putting out a whole pile of ethanol to help make more sanitizers, which I think is amazing. Avoid touching your eyes and your nose and your mouth, okay? Clean and disinfect frequently used surfaces such as your bench tops, desks, and doorknobs. Clean and disinfect frequently used objects. Your mobile phone, your keys, your wallet, work passes, anything that you are going to be touching frequently, you need to clean it. Increase the amount of fresh air available by opening the windows or adjusting the air conditioning. Try not to use air conditioning as much though, because then you've got your electricity bill, which is going to be hard enough. Help stop the viruses like the flu. Good hygiene is the most essential thing. So you also must stay 1.5 metre away from people whenever possible. This is called social distancing. We've heard all about it. People are still not doing it how they're supposed to. If you are going into a Dan Murphy's or a Woolworths or any places, there are crosses on the lines you need to stand on. Don't make the staff have to actually police you into making sure you're making the right decision for yourselves. Social distancing. One way to slow the viruses, is social distancing. It's also called physical distancing. The more space between you and others, it is harder for the virus to spread. Coronavirus is most likely to spread from person to person when we come into close contact with one another. We can all help stop the spread by social distancing. It means we don't shake hands. We don't hug or give people kisses. Look, I'm the biggest one for it. I love a big cuddle. But at the moment, it's the elbows. It's really important to practice the good hygiene that I've explained earlier, especially after being in public places. And in public, stay at home unless it's necessary, unless you have to go out. Food shopping, doctors. At the moment, still taking the kids to and from school. Yes. Unfortunately, that's out of our control. If you choose to keep your kids at home, great. Oh, there we go. Touch my nose. I've got to use my sanitizer. Avoid physical greetings such as handshaking, hugs and kisses. Use a tap and pay instead of cash. That cash that you've picked up off the floor, we don't want to touch it when we're working with you in the service industry. Travel at quiet times and avoid crowds. So try and pick when you go to the shops. If you can see it's packed, don't go. Avoid public gatherings and at-risk groups like old people's homes. Look, I know we want to go and see our mums. My mum's up in Burham Heads and I'd love nothing more than to just drive up and just be with her. But at this stage, it's not going to happen. Practice good hygiene. Households, for our own households, social steps for social distancing. Stay at home unless you're going out is absolutely necessary. Keep your visitors to a minimum. No huge barbecues, no big coronavirus parties. Reduce the visits to the shops. Again, we can't do online orders anymore at the moment. So unfortunately, don't do a daily shop. get enough for a couple of days, or at least 10 days. Carefully consider what outgoings are necessary, both individually and for families. There's not a lot open anymore, so, there's not a lot of reason to go out. Spend the time with your kids. Regularly disinfect the surfaces of home, tables, kitchen benches, doorknobs. And if someone in your household is sick, you should care for them in a single room if possible. Keep the number of carers to a minimum. Keep the door to the sick person's room closed if possible, with a window open. Wear a mask if you are in the same room as a sick person. The sick person should also wear a mask. Protect other vulnerable family members by keeping them away from a sick person. At-risk people include those over 65 or people with chronic illness. If possible, find them somewhere else to stay while the family member is sick. If you can work from home, there's also social distancing in place there. Stop shaking hands to greet people. Hold meetings via video conferencing. Put off large meetings to a later date. Hold essential meetings outside the open air. Promote good hand, sneeze and cough hygiene. Provide alcohol-based rub for staff and workers. Eat lunch at your desk rather than outside in the lunchroom, or outside rather than in the lunchroom. Regularly clean and disinfect surfaces that many people touch. Open windows or adjust air conditioning for more ventilation. Limit food handling and sharing of food in the workplace. Avoid non-essential travel. Promote strict hygiene amongst food preparation for close contacts. Consider if you can reschedule, stagger, or cancel non-essential meetings. These tips and hints I have actually gotten from the Australian government website, not from Facebook, not from anything else. In schools, for all of you that are in school still, if your child is sick, do not send them to school. You must keep them home, away from others. To reduce the spread of viruses in schools, wash hands with soap and water for 20 seconds. Use hand sanitizer when entering the school and regular intervals. Stop activities that lead to mixing between classes and years. Avoid queuing. Cancel school assemblies. Have regular hand washing schedules. Regularly clean and disinfect surfaces that many people touch. Conduct lessons outside when possible. Consider opening windows and adjusting air conditioning for more ventilation. That's a big one. Promote strictest hygiene amongst food preparation for the canteen staff and their close contacts. Since the schools are going to stay open till at least the school holidays start, and they are planning on keeping them open, it is also your own choice whether you send your kids. My priority is keeping my kids safe. Keep in touch with others. You can still keep in touch with loved ones while practicing social distancing. Video chats. Teach your mums and dads to actually use Skype or any other social media platforms. Phone calls to chat with others that you'd normally see. Use online groups to interact. Chat with neighbours while keeping 1.5 metres apart. The limits on public gatherings for coronavirus have just been in place. These limits are important so that we do not spread the virus. Non-essential gatherings are suspended. They are to reduce the risk of spreading coronavirus. This will give both businesses and people the time to fully understand social distancing requirements. Following facilities have already been shut down and some have been added to it. Pubs, registered licenses and clubs, we all know this. Gyms, indoor sports venues. Cinemas, entertainment venues, casinos and nightclubs, restaurants, cafes will be restricted to takeaway and home delivery. Religious gatherings and places of worship or funerals are in enclosed spaces have also now got restrictions. So your weddings, they can only have 5 people. You've got the bride, the groom, the celebrant and 2 witnesses. That's it. Food courts, except for takeaway. Auction houses, real estates, auctions and open houses have all been shut down. Personal services, beauty, nails, tanning, waxing and tattoo salons. Spa, massages, parlours, excluding health-related services such as physios. Amusement parks, arcades and play centres. Strip clubs, brothels and sex on premises venues. That should be a no-brainer. Galleries, national institutions, historic sites and museums have also been closed. Health clubs, fitness centres, yoga, bar and spin facilities, saunas, bathhouses, wellness centres and swimming pools. Community facilities such as community halls, libraries and youth centres, RSLs, PCYCs, gaming and public venues. Indoor-outdoor markets, excluding food markets. States and territories will make their own announcements about those. Funerals must be limited to no more than 10 people. 4 square metre rule and social distancing must be observed. Hairdressers and barbers can continue to operate under strict new rules. Their 4 square metre rule and social distancing must be observed. Clients must not spend more than 30 minutes inside the premises. Now, this one has been a hard one, and I have had a lot of people online saying, oh, well, we'll just put their colour on and send them out and they can come back in and that's okay. It's not okay. You do need to make your choice for your own business, but I will foresee that in the near future, and I'm talking in the next couple of days, I believe that hairdressers will also be cut down to not opening at all. But we'll see how that goes. Boot camps and personal training must be conducted outdoors with no more than 10 people and social distancing observed. Hotels, hostels, beds and breakfast, campsites and boarding houses will also be a decision for each state and territory. These measures also apply to outdoor spaces associated with above venues. Essential gatherings must restrict the number of people present to 500 for outdoor gatherings and 100 for indoor gatherings. This was as of this morning. Essential indoor gatherings. Essential activities include essential workplaces, healthcare settings, pharmacies, food shopping, social and schools and universities, public transport and airports. These essential indoor gatherings must apply social distancing and good hygiene practices. Being able to maintain a distance of 1.5 metres between people, providing hand hygiene products and suitable bins with sufficient and frequent cleaning and waste disposal. Aged care facilities, special restrictions remain in place for these places and to protect our elderly. Public transport is also essential, and essential outdoor events can have less than 500 attendees. All must follow the rules. Consider the size of the space, the number of people in it, and how much room they have to move around safely. People must be able to keep 1.5 metres apart. My biggest thing that I have seen when I've been watching is this self-isolation. Self-isolation just doesn't mean staying at home and not going to work and just going out to the park and walking the dog and doing this and doing that. That's still not self-isolation. Self-isolation means you must stay at home for 14 days. You must self-isolate until you have, especially if you have the disease. If you have been in close contact with a confirmed case, or if you have arrived in Australia after midnight on 15th of March 2020. Self-isolation means staying at home or in a hotel room for 14 days to prevent the spread of the virus to other people. You must self-isolate if you have the disease, if you have been in close contact with a confirmed case of it, and again, if you have arrived in Australia after midnight on the 15th of March. Self-isolation lasts for 14 days. If you can, use personal transport such as a car to get to or from your hotel. That minimises contact with others. You must go straight home to your hotel. Do not go to the shops. Do not buy food, medicine, groceries. Organise your family members or friends to buy supplies for you or order them online. I know that home deliveries are not available with Woolworths at the moment, but it is one of those things that if you have a family member or you don't have anybody that can help, you need to find somebody that can actually get you the resources that you need, your supplies, basic foods. If you need to use public transport, wear a surgical mask. Avoid direct contact with other passengers, drivers and staff. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water. Cover your cough and sneeze. Put tissues in a bin and use alcohol-based rub. If possible, stay more than 1.5 meters from people. Staying at home means you do not go out in public places such as work, school, shopping centres, childcare, or university. Ask someone to get you food and other necessities for you and leave them at your front door. Do not let visitors in. Only people who usually live with you should be in your home. You do not need to wear a mask in your home, but you do need to wear one if you go out, if you have got the virus or if you are in self-isolation. You should stay in touch by phone and online with your family and friends. For students and children, you must notify the relevant school or childcare centre. Students should check with their schools about arrangements for remote learning. Going outside in self-isolation. If you live in a private house, you can go outside into your garden or your courtyard. If you live in an apartment or staying in a hotel, it's also safe for you to go into the garden, but you should wear a mask to minimise risk to others. Stay 1.5 metres from people. Move quickly through common areas. And in isolation, monitor yourself for your symptoms. Being in isolation for 14 days can be stressful and boring. Suggestions include keeping in touch with families and friends via telephone, email, or social media. Learn about COVID-19 and talk with others. Reassure young children using age-appropriate language. Where possible, keep up normal daily routines such as eating well and exercise. Arrange to work from home. Ask your child's school to supply assignments or homework by post or email. Do the things to help you relax and use isolation as an opportunity to do activities that you don't normally have time for. So use your common sense. If you're living with others, or if others are living with you and you are in self-isolation, if you are well, others that live with you do not need to self-isolate unless they also meet one of the isolation criteria. If you develop symptoms and health authorities suspect you have COVID-19, those living with you are close contacts and must isolate. You can return to your community, and people who have completed your 14-day period without developing any other symptoms, they can return to normal activities. I hope this has helped. This information is not from Facebook. This is actually from the Australian Health Government website. So for those who are in self-isolation, I know a few of my friends are on day 7 or 8 of their self-isolations. I hope you're having a lot of fun, and if you need to, just contact me. Look, I need my hair done too. All right, guys. Good luck. Let's stay safe in this time and just use your common sense, guys. Thanks.